Hey guys, so I will explain track 21 until track 22. So let's go. We go to the number 1. My answer is A, the subject. Why? Because in the beginning, as we heard in the audio, the girl said that, and the subject is Italian painting. We go to the number 2. My answer is C, or Mandy. Why? Because as we heard in the audio, she said that I think we should concentrate on a single painter. Go to the number 3. My answer is C, Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci. Why? Because in the audio, as we heard it, she said, I think we should definitely include Michelangelo. And in another sentence, she said, what about Leonardo da Vinci? And she also mentioned that both of them are a great painter. Lastly, we go to the number 4. My answer is B, his style of painting is different. Why? Because as we heard in the audio, she said that his painting is very different from the others. Now we go to track 22. Number 1, my answer is a comparison. Why? Because as we heard in the audio, we can hear that the boys said that, how about Michelangelo and Botticelli? A comparison. Okay, number 2, my answer is 8 slides. Why? Because in the audio we heard that the girl said that she suggests that we have to divide it into 2 slides each section. So the total will be 8 slides, and it's included introduction and conclusion. Now we go to number 3 and 4. So my answer is similar and different. Why? Because in the audio we heard that he said that he will want to do a couple slides about showing how Michelangelo and Botticelli are similar and how they are different. Okay, that's it for my answers and my explanation about the answers. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Selvina and I'm going to explain about track 25. In here we have the question number 1 to 4. Let's begin with the question number 1. The question is, the topic of the presentation is. So my answer is B. The topic of the presentation is the risk caused by mobile phones. Why I answer B? Because in the conversation, I can hear that the speaker said when the lecturer asked, first of all, what is your topic? And then the student answer, we actually going to explain the danger using mobile phone. So in here, in the option, we can see that it is B that tell that the topic is the risk caused by mobile phone. Risk is the synonym of danger, so B means the danger caused by mobile phone. So yeah, the answer is B. Now come to the second question. The introduction explain the. So my answer is the introduction explain the importance of understanding the danger of mobile phones, which is C. Why I answer C? Because in the conversation, I hear that the student said in the introduction, explaining why we think that it is important to understand the danger of mobile. So they're going to put that in the introduction. So yeah, the answer for this question is C. Now the question number 3. On the second slide, the students are planning to. My answer is B. on the second slide, the students are planning to point out some different kind of phrase, because in the recording, I hear the conversation that they said that, and in the third slide, we will have a list of different type of danger. So it means that they will point out some different kinds of risk. That's why the answer is B. And the last question is the tutor suggests. My answer is B. The tutor suggests discussing the benefits of mobile phone, because in the recording we can hear that the tutor said, I think you should mention the advantages. You could put that in your introduction. It can balance the argument. So yeah, the tutor suggests to discussing the benefit of mobile phone. So the answer is B. So that's the answer of track 25 and also the reason. Now we are moving to the next slide. So now it's time for track 26. As you can see here in the slide, there are a question 5 to 7, and also you can see that in here, listen to the next part of the recording and complete the slide. Write one word only. In here, in the column 1, we can see the slide introduction, number 5, slide 2, help, number 6, security, slide 3, 7, for avoiding dangers. So our job is to fill this with no more than one word. So let's begin with the number 5, introduction. The answer is advantages, because in the recording we can hear that the lecturer said that as you say, you are going to add the advantages of using mobile phone to the first slide. Good, that's what the lecturer said. So it means that the student will put the advantages in introduction. That's why the answer is advantages. Question number 2. In here we can see first help, and then the question, and then security. So what is my answer? My answer to this question is accidents. Why I answer accident? Because in the recording I hear that the lecturer said that I think you should divide them into groups, maybe on the separate title like help, accidents, security. So help and security already there, and accident is still missing, so we put accident in there. That's why the answer is accidents. Number 3, for avoiding danger. So what is the right word to complete this sentence? So my answer is suggestion. Suggestion for avoiding dangers. Why I answer with suggestion? Because in the recording I hear that they're saying in the third slide you can put your suggestion for staying away from each of this danger on the separate title. So that's why the answer is suggestion. Now let's move to the track 27. Track 27, question 8 to 10. As you can see here in the slide, there are 3 questions. Number 8, the actual talk will last for. Number 9, each student will speak for. Number 10, the slide must all have the. So let's answer those questions. Let's begin with number 8. The actual talk will last for. My answer is 7 minutes. Why I answer with 7 minutes? Because in a recording, I hear they're talking about that. They're saying that the presentation should be for 10 minutes. Is that right? And another people answer, yes, but 10 minutes in total, including 3 minutes for the question. So you only talk for 7 minutes. That's why my answer is 7 minutes, and that's why the actual talk will only last for 7 minutes. Now, question number 2. Each student will speak for. My answer is 2 minutes, because in the recording they also mentioned that one student said that that's only 2 minutes each, and it means that the answer is each student will speak for 2 minutes only. And number 10, the slide must all have my answer is same style, because in the recording they mentioned that the people said make sure all the slides have the same style. Make sure is similar with must, so the slide must all have the same style. So that's all my explanation about the answer of track 27.
Hi everyone, my name is Salsabila Khairunnisa. Now I will explain track 16, practice 1, conversation 1 until conversation 5. So let me start. Conversation 1, number 1. We answer B. It is too easy. Because in the audio the student said, I will pass that level. It means if he feels the introductory Spanish is too easy. So we answer B. Number 2. We answer A. A foreign language class is required because in the audio the woman said to the student, you have to take some foreign language class. It's compulsory for all students. From this statement, we conclude to answer A. Number 3. We answered C, Latin American history, because of the student's statement. Do not I put that Latin American? So we conclude that the student take Latin American history for Monday and Wednesday. Conversation 2. Number 1. We answer C, spoken about her project with the professor, because of the man's statement. You'd better have making an appointment with the professor before you get it much further into this. So we can conclude if she haven't talked about her project with the professor. And we answer C. Number 2, we answer A, interviews. Because in the audio the man said to the woman, the professor said want to include at least one original interview. In conclusion, we answer A, interviews. Number 3, we answer A, in 2 weeks, because the man said the project will submit at the end of the month. And then the woman's response, it gives me 2 weeks to finish it. In conclusion, the project due is in 2 weeks. Conversation 3. Number 1, we answered B for its attractive flowers, because in the audio you will hear it has beautiful and fragrant flowers. From this, we know the reason why people want to plant these flowers. Number 2, we answered C, dig up the roots, because in the audio we will hear the speaker's statement. The only way is you dig it up by the roots. Number 3, we answer A, food, because of the speaker's statement. You can eat it. The keyword is eat. It means the answer is A, food. Conversation 4, number 1. We answer A, to discuss about her classwork. We answer A because of the professor's statement. As you know, I like to have a talk with each my students mid-semester, just to checking, see having and see going. So from this statement, we can conclude if the answer is A. Number 2, we answer B, turn her assignments in on time, because the professor stated, you seem to have a habit of turning them late. From this statement, we decide if the answer is B. Number 3, we answer C, the conclusion. We answer C from the professor's statement. I have the problem with the way you conclude those. it isn't quite logical. From this statement, we can decide if the answer is C, the conclusion. Conversation 5. Number 1, we answer B, middle school. Because Martha said, but, well, I found the middle school that has a great science program. From this statement, we decide if the answer is B, middle school. Number 2, we answer A, working in small groups. We answer A because of Martha's statement. A lot of time we have class divided into small groups, and it was much easier to work with them that way. In fact, I think that was the best about my student teaching. From that statement, we can decide if the answer is A, working in small groups. Number 3, we answered A, the staff was supportive. We answered A from Martha's statement. Everyone who worked in that school gave me a lot of support. In conclusion, the answer is A.
Track 17, still in section 3. There are 4 conversations in this part, and the first conversation is talking about the 3 structures. And the first missing word in this structure is layer, because it's talking about the very first structure is cambium layer, and the missing word is layer. And the second missing word is growth, because it's supposed to be growth ring, and the missing word is only growth. And the last missing word is pith, which is the structure that placed in the middle of the 3 structures. And now we come to conversation 2. This conversation talking about pyramid structure. And the first missing word is grand gallery, which is a place beside the king's chamber. This is the very wide area of the pyramid. And the second missing word is queen chambers, that place below the king chamber. In the very under the pyramid is underground chambers. So now we come to the third conversation. It's talking about the steam machine, and the first missing word is heater, to heat the water, and the second missing word in this conversation is plant material that filled the tube machine. And the last missing word is oil, because it actually combined with water, and the missing word is oil. And the last conversation is conversation 4. This conversation talking about the forest area in the mountain, and the very first area is grassland, which is the first missing word in this conversation. And the next area is juniper woodland, and if we climb up, and we can find pine forest, which is the second missing word in this conversation. And up to the pine forest there is fierce forest, and up to the fierce forest there is mixed fir and spruce forest, which is the third missing word in this conversation. And the missing words in this number is only mixed, because fir and spruce forest is already on the text.
Okay guys, let's continue to the track 20 practice 2. Okay, let's start with talk 1. There is 3 questions. And the answer for number 1 is distinguish certain colors. Why? Because the speaker said the color blindness is a condition that makes it difficult to distinguish certain colors. And the answer number 2 is red green. Why? Because the speaker said the majority of colorblind people have red-green color blindness. And the answer number 3 is injury. Why? Because the speaker said, however, sometimes also results from injury. Okay, let's continue to the talk 2. There is 3 questions there. The answer of number 1 is domesticated. Why? Because the speaker said the llama, an animal native to the Andes Mountains, has spent an important part in Inca culture since 4000 BC, where was first domesticated. And the answer number 2 is the common people. Why? Because the speaker said llama wool, which is somewhat coarse in texture, has used by the common people. And the answer number 3 is drought. Why? Because the speaker said in AD 562, an area of the Andes is suffered of drought. Okay, let's go to the last talk 3. There is 3 questions there, and the answer number 1 is business plan. Why? Because the speaker said you can start a successful small business without a solid business plan. And the answer number 2 is money. Why? Because the speaker said, however, even if you do have to borrow some, it's best to start with as much of your own money as possible. And number 3 is qualified. Why? Because the speaker said, make sure that your employees have qualified to the job. Thank you.